going on, Dolphins fans? It is your boy Dillon, and so I'm making you this video post day one of the draft. First of all, I want to apologize because unfortunately my computer is a little bit old, at this point, as I've mentioned to you guys before, and it doesn't really handle live streams so well. So unfortunately I wasn't able to do anything like that this time around, but I'm hoping that my expectation is that I should be able to get myself a new computer before the beginning of the season, and so thereby hopefully I'll be able to start doing live stream stuff for you guys, like during games or what have you. But tonight was the first day of the draft, so obviously there's some stuff to talk about. It's been kind of slow for the past several days news-wise, and I've been super busy, so I haven't really made any videos. But obviously there's stuff to talk about tonight. So I am going to get into obviously our pick, and kind of break them down a little bit, give you my impressions, what I think, so on and so forth. And then, but I also want to talk about, some stuff that they were talking about, during the draft, the commentators, and and also I want to, tell you about who the other teams in our division picked. So I'm actually going to start off with that. I'll start with the Patriots. They obviously had the 32nd pick. They picked a wide receiver, N'Keal Harry. I don't really know anything about him. Obviously, I don't have the time and the resources and so on and so forth to be able to do extensive research on all these guys like these scouting departments do. So there's a lot of players I don't know a lot about, but they just pick up this, I don't know anything about him, so I really don't know what to say about it. So they get a wide receiver with the 32nd pick. The Bills, I forgot what exactly, or what pick they had exactly. For some reason I want to say the 8th pick, but it was before us. But anyway, I don't remember exactly. I want to say it was the 8th. Anyway, they picked up Ed Oliver. He was a player that could have possibly gone to us. A good defensive player. He was definitely high on a lot of people's draft boards. He's a really good player. He can cause a lot of disruption and whatever pressure on the opposing quarterback and so on and so forth. He's a pass rusher. I believe he's an edge defender, Ed Oliver. But definitely on the defensive line. I get these guys mixed up. It's hard to keep track of who's who and who's what, but he's definitely defensive line. I believe he's a pass rusher, but he was definitely one of those guys that could have been slated to us, but obviously he got picked. But he does make the Bills stronger. I mean, they already have a good, defensive team. They have for, quite some time, and he just, makes them a little bit more potent. So, obviously we're in a major rebuild right now, and so when you look at our division, because if you want to be competitive, you got to do well against your division. And so as of right now, we're definitely, I think, unfortunately it does look like we're last in the division at this point. So we're gonna have to keep up with everybody else. And the Bills had a good defender on day one, so that will make things a little bit tougher, especially considering the fact that offensive line is one of our weakest areas, and they got a really good guy, a really good pass rusher. So we'll see how that works out. The Jets picked up Quinnen Williams, another guy. He's a defensive tackle that was a possibility for us. Again, with the same thing with the Bills, is he will potentially give us some fits. Obviously we don't know yet. We got to wait and see how he plays out, how he adjusts, and so on and so forth. But they picked at number 3, and they took him 3rd overall. And he gets good grades from all analysts and so on and so forth, and blah blah blah. And so they picked up Le'Veon Bell in the offseason. They also got C.J. Mosley. They've had a really good defense historically and certainly recently. So they're going to be tough, and he's going to be another guy who's going to be tough on our offensive line. So when we play the Jets, I really think that, unfortunately, I mean, we'll see. The games that are down in Miami, obviously, we stand a better chance, I would say, home games against those guys. But I don't really think we're going to win many games at all this year, unfortunately, and I think that we're, probably not going to win many in the division either. So I think that the Jets are probably a little bit further ahead in the game than the Bills. I think the Jets will probably end up being second in the division this year, Bills third, and I think we're going to end up last. Obviously, Patriots first. They're gonna be looking like a strong team, and they got a tough defense, and that just got made a lot stronger by picking up Quinn Williams. And so our offensive line and our offense is gonna have a hard time, man. They're gonna struggle very mightily against those two teams. And so unfortunately, because of that, I don't think we're gonna do very well in the division. And overall this season I think is gonna be pretty rough for us. But anyway, so just, obviously that doesn't really have anything to do with us directly, but it will have, it will have effects on this upcoming season. So I did want to let you guys know about who the other teams, obviously Bills, Patriots, and Jets, who they picked, and, what I think and how they might have an impact on us in this upcoming season. So next I want to get into a little bit about what, some of the commentary was and some of the key points. And so, and some of the things that I took that stood out. I mean, there was a lot, but they made points that, I have been talking about for a while, but that are super important, because people need to realize some things about the NFL, and that it's not like, it's not all about one person. So, anyway, getting into it, that actually leads me into one of the first things that they talked about, and one of the things that they said. I don't remember which commentator, who it was that said it, but they had said, no team is one player away. And it's true, right? There's not a single team in the NFL that's ever just one player away, right? It's a team sport. You need to build a team like a team, not like it's all about one person, right? Now, you need to be able to obviously identify, what positions are more important, and, you have to be able to accurately identify, like, what players at what positions you should pay and blah, blah, blah. That's a lot of stuff, and right, it's very complicated, but no matter what, it's never just, one player. So, I want to stress that, right? It's about building a team and building it properly as a team, expecting 11 guys on the field to go out and do their job at the same time together every play. They also talked about how, a quarterback with no offensive line, is going to struggle, is going to have a hard time, right? And no matter how good they are with pocket presence or, with their legs, they're going to struggle if they don't have a line, and they're not going to last. They're not going to hold up, right? So you got to, it's super important. Then obviously they talked, several times throughout this day one about the trenches, because most of the players picked were either defensive linemen or offensive linemen. And so, like, I'm an advocate for trench play is where it starts, and that's the most important thing on both sides of the ball. A lot of the bad things they said about our defense, defense and defensive line last year, the defensive line caused a lot of turnovers. That's why we were like second in the league, I think, at the end of the year in interceptions. Xavier Howard led the league in interceptions for a single player. He was tied with Will Fuller, I believe, but at 7. Right? So, they did good things. They didn't get the sacks we would have wanted, but they caused a lot of errant throws, which resulted in picks. Right? So the trench play is super important. I think, personally, that's where it starts, and that's where it should start. So now let's get into our pick. So we picked at number 13. We stayed where we were at, and we picked. Our pick was Christian Wilkins. So let me give you a rundown of him and who he is. Let's see. He's a defensive tackle from Clemson. Okay. Born December 20th, 1995. So he's 23, from Springfield, Massachusetts. He's 6'3", 315 pounds. He went to Suffield Academy for high school. Obviously played at Clemson. He was our first round pick, obviously, this year. But some of his career highlights in college: he got the ACC Jim Tatum Award in 2018, the William V. Campbell Trophy in 2018, Bill Willis Trophy in 2017. He was a two-time CFP National Champion in 2016-2018. He was a unanimous All-American in 2018, a two-time first-team All-American in 16 and 17, and a three-time first-team All-ACC in 16, 17, and 18. Let's see. His pre-draft measurables: 6'3", 315 pounds, a 32.5-inch arm length, 9 3/4-inch hand size. He ran a 5.04 40-yard dash, a 4.55 second 20. What is that? I'm not sure what that. 20-yard shuttle. There we go. I'm sorry. Haha. Okay, and he had a 29.5-inch vertical jump, an 8'11" broad jump, and 28 reps on the bench press, which is really good. And so, you know, he's had some, and he had some decent production in college. You know, look, so I think overall it's definitely a great pick. I really love this pick overall. They talked to him. He sounds like a smart kid. Everybody is saying that, you know, by all reports that I've seen so far and everything, he's really smart. He's a humble guy. He's a hard worker. He's hungry. Those are things that you want, especially if you are, you know, trying to build the culture. I love that they did not take a quarterback. They did not move up to get a quarterback. They didn't take one in the first round, because I think the trenches are our biggest need right now. And they still should take one this year and next year and every year, but third or later. And they need to build up the trenches. Now, personally, I actually, for me, ideally would have been to move back and address offensive line in the first round, because defensive players were going like pretty much every pick. Like, it was super defensive heavy, and especially along the defensive line. So a lot of, now again, Christian Wilkins is a great talent, and I love the pick, and you know, he's definitely a first round caliber player, but a lot of the, you know, the upper echelon defensive players, especially along the defensive line, were just flying off the board, and certainly throughout the first round. Obviously, you know, we picked at 13, so we definitely got one of the better ones for sure. But I think offensive line was more important. And it's funny because if you actually, if you guys saw any of my videos, I think there were maybe like 2 or 3 videos in which I had talked about this, and I said that, you know, if it was me, ideally I would trade back in the first round, right? Accrue more draft capital overall for this year, next year, whatever, right? And I would pick up an offensive lineman, and the guy that I wanted was center Garrett Bradbury. Now, the pick that I said that I would probably trade back to was number 17, pick number 17, right? Garrett Bradbury got picked at number 18 by the Minnesota Vikings. I just find that interesting. It doesn't really mean anything. I will be curious, though, to see how he does, and of course, obviously, how Christian Wilkins does. But that would have been what I would have done, right? Like, I would have moved back, and I would have picked up Garrett Bradbury, and then I would have probably gotten, you know, a defensive lineman in round 2. But you know, they decided to go defensive line in round 1. I love that they did not, you know, take Dwayne Haskins, even though he was there at 13. And they didn't chase a quarterback, nothing like that. And they picked up definitely one of the higher position positions of need. Now, he is a defensive tackle. We still do have Devon Godchaux, Vincent Taylor, who did really good things for us. You know, and they are obviously young draftees of the Dolphins. So I think I would argue that edge rusher, edge defender, right, you know, pass rusher, whatever, is more important. But at the same time, this is going to be a 3-4, 4-3 kind of hybrid defense, and he does have the kind of versatility and stuff that you would need to be able to play in that kind of system. So I do, like I said, I really do love this pick. Personally, for me, I would have traded back to probably 17, picked up Garrett Bradbury, the center, at 17, and then, you know, gone from there. But they stuck where they were. They didn't chase. They didn't give away the limited draft capital they have, and so I love that, and I do really love this pick, and I'm really looking forward to see how he does. And so look, you know, the draft is huge, you know, and I've said it. Look, I told you I don't really agree with the majority of the moves that they've made thus far, but so far they didn't nail, or I mean, they didn't do what I would think, or personally what I think would have been the best thing, which again, one more time, would have been moved back to probably about 16, 17. 17's kind of just the number that has been stuck in my head. And even when we were on the clock, I was like, man, just trade back, go to 17 and pick there. But anyway, I would have done that, got Garrett Bradbury, but I love this pick. This kid seems like he has a really good chance to do some great things for us. And so I like it. It's definitely a solid A. I'll give it an A-, just because I think like there's not really that big of a difference between like an A-, an A, and an A+. I think if they would have moved back a few spots, got Garrett Bradbury, or even maybe Christian Wilkins would have been there, and they could have still got him, or, you know, whatever, another defensive lineman that they liked, right? But move back, get that additional draft capital. That's all that would have made it like a full-on like A+, right? So I thought they did great in the first round. Let's see what happens in round 2 tomorrow. Sorry again, guys, that, you know, I can't do live anything for you guys right now, but I promise that is coming, and I am working hard to get myself or get, you know, the money saved up to get myself another, you know, a new computer, so I don't have these problems anymore, and I can actually do those things for you. So I am gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna try and get for you, I don't know if it's gonna be in this video or if I have to make another one, but I will try and get you, you know, the press conferences and stuff, you know, from Greer and whoever it is that talks, Flores, right? Whoever talks or whatever. So look out for that. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this video now. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys like what I do, and I hope you guys enjoy my show. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.